Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is shaving a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The room was suffused with an electric tension, the kind that made every heartbeat sound like a thunderclap. And Finn stood there, his jaw tight, eyes ablaze with a mix of disbelief, fury, and a heartbreak that seemed to radiate outward, wrapping Steffy in a suffocating wave of dread. The papers trembled in his hands, the stark official letters of truth that could no longer be hidden or denied. The DNA report, clean and damning, the irrefutable evidence of Taylor's deception, and Finn's voice, which until that moment had been calm, now rang like a bell of doom across the expanse of Steffy's designer living room, echoing off the pristine walls as he shouted the words that would shatter her world into pieces too jagged to ever fit back together. "She's not your mother." Each word hit Steffy like a physical blow, reverberating through her chest as if the very floor beneath her had been ripped away, leaving her to hover in a void of shock and disbelief. Her knees buckled slightly, but she clung to the edge of the marble countertop, gripping it with fingernails that were suddenly too weak to hold her weight. Her eyes wide, glassy, the vibrant green dulled by the storm raging inside her. She couldn't speak, her throat constricted, her mind racing, trying to grasp what Finn had just declared, trying to compute that the woman who had raised her, who had wiped away her tears, who had cheered for her victories and scolded her mistakes, who had always been the constant in her life, the anchor in a world of chaos, was not, in fact, her biological mother. The room seemed to constrict around her, the air thickening as Finn stepped closer, the DNA report shaking in his hands as he thrust it toward her like a gauntlet. "I saw the results myself, Steffy. Triple-checked. I called the lab again. This is real. Taylor lied to you. She has always known the truth, and she kept it from you." His words fell like jagged shards, sharp enough to cut through every memory Steffy had of her mother. Each laugh, each embrace, each whispered piece of advice now tainted, twisting in her mind like venom in a wound she didn't know existed. Her breaths came shallow and fast, a panicked rhythm she couldn't control, and the room spun around her in cruel mockery. The elegant furniture and family portraits suddenly mocking in-air stillness, a silent testimony to a life built on lies. Steffy's hands trembled as she reached for the report, almost as if by touching it, she could reverse the reality it proclaimed. But Finn didn't allow her to get close. His expression one of unbearable anguish and desperate urgency. "Steffy, you have to see it for yourself. You have to understand that everything Taylor told you about your origins. Everything was Allie." She snatched the papers from him, the crisp sheets cutting her palm, and her eyes darted across the rows of genetic data. The sequence of letters that would forever alter her sense of self. At first she tried to read it scientifically to dismiss it as numbers and technicalities. But the truth sank in faster than reason, faster than logic, faster than denial could take hold. She dropped the papers onto the floor as if their very presence was poison. Her chest heaving, her lips parted but voiceless, and the room seemed to tilt, her vision narrowing to a single point, the singular, horrifying realization that the woman she had called mother her entire life, the woman whose name she had carried, whose traits she had inherited, whose love she had depended upon was not hers by blood, nother's by any natural tie that mattered, and Finn, standing there like a pillar of both judgment and sympathy, reached out, his voice trembling now with the weight of his own. "Heartbreak. I know this is unbearable, Steffy. I know it is everything you believed is gone, and I can even begin to imagine how betrayed you feel right now. But you need to hear the rest. There's more." Steffy Inshawk barely managed to nod, her mind a hurricane of confusion and grief, and Finn inhaled, his chest rising and falling as though drawing in the courage to continue the revelation that would shake Steffy's entire sense of identity. "Taylor, she didn't just hide the truth from you. She manipulated every story, every memory, every moment to fit her narrative. The truth is, your biological mother is someone else entirely. Someone you've never even considered. Someone who's been out there living a life parallel to yours while you thought you were safe in the arms of Taylor." The words like fire ignited in Steffy's veins, her pulse hammering so loudly she could almost hear it over the ringing in her ears. No, she whispered, though it was more instinct than conscious thought. A fragile protest against a truth too monstrous to accept. It can't be true. I tell her my mom she wouldn't lie. Finn's face softened, a mixture of pain and fierce protective instinct. Ash stepped closer, placing a steadying hand on her arm. Steffy, I wish she hadn't. I wish she could have been honest, but this isn't speculation, that it's verified, documented, and undeniable. And I know it's cruel, and I know it destroys everything you thought you knew about yourself, but you need to face it. You need to know the truth so you can decide how to move forward, not under a lie. Steffy's mind reeled, memories crashing into one another. At Taylor's comforting arms when she had scraped her knee. Taylor's voice at her graduation. Taylor's warm hugs and moments of despair, all now tainted, suspicious, like sugar that had tornado ashes in her mouth. She staggered back, clutching the edge of the kitchen island, tears spilling down her cheeks, and Finn, seeing her unravel, felt a pang of helplessness. He had wanted to protect her from this moment, to shield her from Taylor's treachery,